Hey guys, doing another fat loss update. So I completed the second week of the rapid fat loss. Body weight went down 1.6 pounds from last week. Um, and actually, so yesterday was my carb up day. High calorie, high carb. And so this morning I weighed like zero point 0.8 pounds less than I weighed last Sunday. So that's a good start so far too. So I'm about to do my lower body workout, but thought we'd talk a little bit more. Some of the things people will do wrong when they're doing something like a very low calorie diet, more of a crash diet, rapid fat loss type of thing, is they'll try to do a whole bunch of activity and things too. If you don't have that energy coming in, then you can't expend quite as much energy going out. What I mean by that is, if you were doing more of the long, slow approach for dieting, which is by far recommended for the vast majority of people, this is the rapid fat loss protocol is only to be done in certain situations, circumstances. But if you're doing that slower, you don't have as much of a deficit. And so then you can do more activity, cardio, and different things like that. What I noticed for me is I kept wanting to try to add in a fifth day working out, but it's just like, I don't, I could do it for a week. I might be able to do it for a couple weeks, but then I think I'd just be drained. On the cardio side, basically it's just steps, so it's pretty easy. That's what I'm doing now. I'm not doing any kind of high intensity cardio, so there is no interval training or anything like that. I'll ride the bike and get my heart rate into a range a little bit higher, but for that, even still, it's only like 120 to 130. So if I was standing up walking, that'd have to be like 130 to 140. So that helps out a little bit with the contraction strength of the heart. Otherwise, the walking's done and heart rates between 100 to 130, which is really helping recovery more than anything. And so one of the things I mentioned in the response to Sarah's question was like REDS, the relative energy deficit in sports. And so that's when, if you are doing this real high output of stuff, then, even though calories could be up there, most likely they're down, there's that relative energy deficiency where your body just doesn't have the energy to meet all those needs. So if you're trying to do a rapid fat loss protocol, work out 6 days a week for an hour, plus do, an hour or two of intense cardio every day, you're just going to wipe yourself out, run yourself into the ground, and it's probably not going to work very well. So, you know, in this case, we're letting the deficit from the calories kind of lead to the fat loss. We don't need to add a whole lot of movement, definitely a whole lot of high intensity activity to try to get that deficit. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And that's where people I do think go wrong. Again, we tend to underestimate how much body fat we're carrying and how long it's going to take to lose it. And so if that's happened to you and then you've got, some type of event you're getting ready for, whatever, uh, then you tend to kind of rush things. And so you think in that case, okay, well, I really need to do a severe deficit. So basically rapid fat loss protocol. And I need to be moving all the time and doing stuff. So I'm going to, lift weights and I'm going to, do cardio, hour, 2 hours every single day. And it's going to be hard on me sweating. And that way I can burn all these calories. That's just going to be a recipe for disaster. It's too much and you're probably going to end up feeling like crap. So, better to kind of plan ahead and kind of start this process a lot sooner than you think. And then that way you've got time at the end. So, a lot of people that are doing like bodybuilding contests or anything along those lines, a lot of times they prefer to be ready, say 2 or 3 weeks before. That way they can kind of increase the calories leading up into the show to kind of fill out and different things like that. They really don't want to have to be in that last week trying to lose more weight, lose more body fat to be able to get on stage. So we can learn from that too. It's gonna be better for us to kind of be there and take more time and have that extra wiggle room at the end where we're not having to still keep trying to lose to get to our goal. So anyway, I do like the rapid fat loss protocol. As far as energy went, it was Thursday when I was tired. but then the rest of the week was fine. So I mean, I'm surprised. I thought this would have a much bigger impact on energy levels than what it has. So I've done 2 weeks. I'll do another week for sure. I'm going to do it this week. I'm not sure about next week, or the week after that, I'm sorry. So I might do it for 2 more weeks. But after that, I'll probably go back to the slower approach for a little while. I feel like I'm getting fairly close to the end. Not sure exactly what that means, as far as time frames go. But I do feel like that's where I want to go. And then one thing too, we've kind of talked before, but I've definitely seen it some this week too. There's just different times where stress or different things can lead to where you're kind of retaining more water. And so I can kind of see it now a lot more easily than I could before. But just be patient during those times. And so, the scale may not show exactly what you're doing. Because I know I had several days where my scale weight was kind of staying the same, which I thought, with this deficit, I expect, some decrease every single day. And then Saturday morning, a pretty decent, fall, it just decreased a lot. So I think a lot of the water weight went then. So be patient during those times. That water weight can skew your results. Don't get too caught up in it. Be patient, continue the course. If you know you're in a deficit and doing things, just stay that way. Give it a few days up to a couple weeks, and then you'll probably have that kind of whoosh effect where all the water goes away, and then you're like, oh, okay, now I can see better definition, see the scale and all these things, and know things are moving in the right direction. So you've got a good plan in place. Just keep following it and trust in it is basically the gist of all this. So all right, guys, that's it for today. Go do my lower body workout. I'll see you next time. Bye.